Hi, and welcome to Quirky Books with Katie. Today we're going to be talking about the book Under the Never Sky by Veronica Rossi. This cover is freaking amazing, by the way. So this book is about a futuristic world. And in this world there are these either I don't know how to pronounce it, I'll call them ether storms. And they're kind of like these swirly blue clouds, and after a while it'll strike down and there'll be lightning and tornadoes and it'll burn everything. And in the world, people have kind of adapted to this in different ways. They're kind of the outsiders or savages, as they're called. They choose to live outside and they kind of scrounge around by themselves. And then there are the dwellers. They live inside in their own little world, and they have these eyepiece things where they can kind of like go to other realms because their world is too boring. This story is told from 2 points of view. There is Aria, who is the dweller, and then there is Perry, who is the outsider. Aria is kind of kicked out from her world because she does something wrong. At first I was kind of confused by where this book was going because I read the back, and then she's kind of inside, and at first she's really, really weak. Like, she has no idea what she's doing, and she gets cast out and she kind of just lays there dead, and then Perry comes to rescue her. Now we are going to talk about what I did like about this book. This book was incredibly fast-paced. I have not read a book this fast-paced since Divergent. I was literally on the edge of my seat for the entire book, because you open and then there's the fire, and then she gets kicked out, and then she thinks she's going to die, and then she finds Perry, and all these things keep happening through the book. One of the most interesting, though, one of the bad guys in this group was a group of cannibals. Yes, cannibals. I have not seen that like any other books. And it was kind of funny, but they were really creepy. If there were cannibals today, I'd probably run and die. Another part that I actually liked about this book was Aria's kind of transformation into someone that knew she was doing. Often in YA books, the character starts out really weak, and either she keeps going through the book and she's still weak, Bella from Twilight, I'm talking to you. Or it's kind of like they're weak and then bam, they suddenly know what they're doing. In this book, you see Aria kind of transform into someone who knows what she's doing. She learns how to kind of adapt. Because when she gets cast out first, like, she describes her feet a lot, and her feet are just covered in like blood and dirt, and she has to rely on Perry a lot to help her. And by the end of the book, she goes out on her own. And then Perry, he was not the typical YA guy. You know, usually he's really sarcastic and funny and you love them right away. Perry, at first I didn't like him. He was kind of annoying and he just looked out for himself, and I didn't really like that about him. But after a while he did grow on me because he was kind of there for Aria, and he did have a heart and he didn't leave. There was also no insta-love in this book. Yay! Don't you just hate it when you read a YA book and you see two characters and you're like, yep, they're going to end up together. What? Should I even read more? And then by the end you're just like, I should not have read that. This actually shows their bond grow. At first, they kind of hate each other because it is the classic, like, you know, kind of rich girl who was pampered all her life, and then there's Perry who's kind of had to fend for himself, and then he does help her, and they do grow, and it was really good how Veronica Rossi kind of showed them trusting each other before they were involved in a romantic relationship. Another thing that I liked about Perry was his relationship with his nephew. At first, the reason why he goes up to the domes is because he's trying to get medicine for his nephew who is sick. And his relationship with his nephew was so adorable, and the part where Talon gets captured was so sad because that's kind of the catalyst for the whole book. Perry is trying to find his nephew, and Aria is trying to find her mother because she finds out that her mother was in one of the domes that was hit by an ether storm. Another interesting aspect of this book was people in the wilderness, they eat, not all of them, select few of them have certain gifts. There's the odds who can hear stuff. Then there's seers who have a really good sense of sight. And then I forget what the other one's called, but I know Perry's a mixture of both. He's a seer, and then he can also feel people's emotions. And that's kind of a question through the book. Does he like Arya because he likes her or because he feels her emotions? One of the weirdest parts of this book was how Perry would constantly describe how Arya smelled. At first, he said that she smelled awful. Total way to get a girl, am I right? And then suddenly stuff happens, and then, oh, she smells like violets. And I swear, about every 20 pages, he describes how lovely she smells because she smells like violets. It was so weird. That was probably one of the only things I didn't like about the book. And the way the book ended was good and not good, because I feel like they could have ended it with one book, but okay, I'm going to spoil the ending here, so if you haven't seen it, you might want to click away, but it kind of ends with Perry goes back to his tribe to kind of beat up his brother, and Perry becomes the Blood Lord. Arya goes back to the realms, and she figures out that her mother is dead, and the leaders of her city basically say, we're going to kill Perry unless you go find this place called the Still Blue. The Still Blue is this mythical land where there are no more other storms. And Arya, you finally see her full transformation, and she goes off to find the storms. I will read the next book. I think it actually came out yesterday. It is called Through the Evernight. I love the covers of these books, by the way, and the titles. So, overall, very good book. You would like it if you like dystopian post-apocalyptic stuff, which is mostly what I read anyway. So, thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe to my channel.